Frank Mary CSP here. I've just done an interview with Terry Brock and Gina Carr. I'm really excited about the event they're running for us here in Australia in November. So we've done a whole lot of conversation about the kind of things they're covering. There's also some great tips you can use straight away. One thing I forgot to mention was that Gina and Terry are also offering some one-on-one sessions. So if you're interested, head over to the Professional Speakers website at professionalspeakers.org.au. Under events, you'll find out all about the different events in the different states, and there is also some details there about the one-on-one sessions. They have a limited number, so if you're interested, book early to avoid disappointment. Looking forward to seeing you at the next PSA event, in particular, the Terry Brock and Gina Carr event. See you there. Hi everyone, and welcome to this fireside chat via the internet with the lovely Terry Brock and Gina Carr. We're talking about their upcoming tour of Australia, if not Australasia. Welcome to the chat.
It is great to be with you, Warwick. How are you doing today?
Fantastic for another legendary day in Australia. Gina, how are you?
I'm doing great. Just thrilled to be here and really looking forward to visiting Australia.
Excellent. All right. So we've seen on a previous video, we know a bit about you. So I'm assuming we know how legendary you are. If you're watching this and you don't, can I introduce you to the lovely concept of Google? Google both names. You will find out more than you ever need to know and probably stuff they don't want you to know. So go and do it now. So you've got a tour coming up, which is fantastic. But one thing we didn't hear about last video is the book that you've written together, Clout. Now, Gina, you said that you wanted to just chat a little bit about Clout. And what does it look like? There it is. Oh, look, and it's
available at fine bookstores near you.
and again, in this digital age, I'm sure it's on Amazon as well.
It could be.
So, Gina, tell me a bit about the book and the value of that book.
Well, the real value of the service Clout is that it helps you evaluate your online influence. You know, when you post something or people responding to it, and how is that relative to other people? So our book really talks about online engagement and how to, as Terry says, do social media right. And to get people, you know, really interacting with you, you know, what sorts of posts can you make and what's considered good social media practice. And the service, in case your folks don't know about it at all, it's not, we don't own it. It's owned by a company called Lithium. And it basically takes from 1 to 100 a scoring system. And it says that, okay, if you have a lot of interaction, you're probably going to be in the high 60s and 70s. If you are a celebrity and above, you might be 80s or so. But if you don't really do much on social media, you're probably going to be 20, 30, 40. Anybody who has a Twitter account automatically has a Clout score, and the world can see it. So to an extent, you may be being judged, but more so than the judging, I love the fact that it's a great tool. I can open it up. I can see, well, relative to my influence, am I doing better on Facebook? Am I doing better on Twitter? Which post did the best? Which one got the most interaction? And, you know, was I consistent? Am I staying consistent? So it's a powerful tool to use. We will talk about it a little bit when we're there on our tour.
Okay, so that's a nice segue into some of the stuff that you're covering in the workshop, particularly social media. Like, I got to tell you, Facebook changes so much that even Facebook doesn't understand what's going on with Facebook. You know, do I need a group, a page, a personal profile? Do I need to set up multiple profiles, as I've seen people do? So are you going to be covering that kind of stuff in the workshop? And what other social media kind of treaties have you got for us?
Well, one of my areas of expertise is the online communities, and I really love Facebook groups. And so those questions that you said, yes, I get that all the time. Should I have a group? Should I have a page? Should I have a profile? Should I have multiple of any of the above? So I'll definitely be digging into that. And I think I have some, you know, good examples to share and good examples of how you would do that. And it depends on your business, of course. It depends. So there's no one right answer for everybody.
So Terry, you're a bit of a technological guru, for one of a smaller term. From your experience and with all the speakers that you're dealing with throughout the world, do most of them have a Facebook page or a group, or what's some of the most successful Facebook presences you've seen?
Well, I think it depends on the person. And with Facebook, you've got some choices. You can have a profile or you can have a page. Now, most of the businesses, say a real grown-up kind of business, where they do it, all shirt and tie and everything, they're going to have a page. And we as speakers can have a page as well for business. However, for us, usually it's going to be our profile. There's a lot of meshing together. Our personal life really becomes part of what we do in business as well for us, versus someone that might be, let's say you're a vice president of a large company, ABC, then you're not going to necessarily use your personal profile for the company. Your personal profile would be for real friends and real family, people like that. And so I find that what we're doing as speakers is we kind of have a blending there, and we have to make sure that what we put on our profile is professional, that we make sure we understand, hey, this is about business, and be careful of what we put on there, and some things you do not want to put out there. For instance, one of the things we recommend strongly is be careful and think carefully before you start putting political or religious statements. Because if you say vote for candidate A, suddenly you got everybody that's for candidate B against you. And that tends to be worldwide. So have fun with it, play with it, enjoy it, and be there, but be a human being. I think it's really, we got to think of social media, particularly Facebook. It's a fun place to do it. Think of it like a party that you're having at your house, a casual, fun party. People come over. It would be wrong to be forcibly trying to sell them your stuff. That would be not appropriate there. But what you want to do is be able to be friends. Be friends with them, get to know them, and provide value. Provide lots of value. And that's one of the things we talk about in the book. Here's an insight, is what you want to do is don't blast a message out to people. I mean, too many times people say, well, we're going to blast this message out there. How many like to be blasted upon? We don't want that. But instead, what you want is to engage with people, to connect with them, provide value to them. And as you do that and think helping others, always how you can render value and service to people in Facebook, or whether you're using Twitter or LinkedIn or any other tool, you want to make sure you do that. And that will help you be more successful in Facebook and in social media.
Well, that leads us to another thing. Obviously, as we were discussing before this this recording, being a speaker has shifted. No longer do you go, I'm a speaker, I speak, that's all I do, I'm a speaker. We now have to be these experts who are getting our content out there in a wide and different manners. So how does the new tools, the live streaming, such as Blab, Periscope, Google Hangouts, Meerkat, and I'm sure there's probably 20 other ones I don't even know about, how does that impact on giving, as a speaker, giving some of our choice content for free? How does that actually help put money in our bank account?
Well, the live streaming tools are really exciting, and you did name most of them there. But one of the keys is when you're doing these free content sessions, you need to be giving a call to action. You need to be driving people to a particular action, whatever it is that you want them to do. So let's say that you wanted them to go and get your free report, so you're building your email list. Or one of my favorite things is to drive them into a Facebook group. Say, hey, we're going to continue the discussion about this topic in our Facebook group. Go to ginasgreatfacebookgroup.com. That's not a real URL, but that's an example. And then they go to Facebook and they join your group, and you can communicate with them that way. And then that way, when you're going to do your paid events, paid webinar or paid workshops, you have them in your virtual clubhouse so that you can communicate with them easily. You also can sell on Periscope and Blab. Just because they're free to use doesn't mean you can't actually sell. One of our friends regularly makes big figures on Periscope. And so, not everybody can do that, but a lot of people can if you position it right.
I'm going to ask Gina another follow-up question from that. And this goes back to what Terry was saying, is in the social environment, one of the worst messages to come across is when you start going, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. So when you're on Periscope and Blab and the like, how can you sell? Like, what are some of the ways you can do it without getting into detail? Because I'm assuming this is going to be the content of the workshop, but viewers, we just want to give you a little tweaky secret bit here. So Gina, what are some of the things? Is it by, I know some people get like paid to say, I'm wearing this shirt by designer XYZ. If you want to look as good as me, go buy this shirt. Or is it actually selling their product in some kind of way?
Yeah, and for speakers, okay, here's an example. So let's say that I'm doing a blab. I call them blabinars because I do a training part of my blabs, and then I let people in. Typically, that's the format I'm using right now. You know, when I say let them in, I add them to the discussion so they can ask questions and such. So I'll do one on online communities. And in that session, I'll dig into some part of online communities. So as I've said, I really love Facebook, but you can also do online communities in Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+. Each has pros and cons. So I might take some sliver of that and teach on it for 15, 20 minutes, open up the blab to let other people come in. And for those of you who don't know what blab is, you're going to, when you get to our session, go to blab.im and check it out, but it's a great tool. And so then at the end, or as I'm going along, I might say, hey, to get my, which of these is better, go to this address, so I'll get their email. And then from the email, I can say, hey,
Okay.
do you want to buy my course on this? Or I could just in the actual webinar say, hey, do you want to buy my course on this? If you want more detail, here it is, $27, $37, whatever.
Fantastic. Terry, you're a man who's done a lot of this online work. A lot of people talk about webinars, but there's so many webinars that are essentially what I call head on a stick. You might as well be watching a video recording because you're there going blah, 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 blah. And now I know in the session you're going to be talking about how do you make it become an interactive virtual virtuoso. So what would be a couple of the key tips you would have if for someone who does webinars or even doing stuff like Periscope, rather than just standing there in front of your phone going, here I am talking to you in a monotone. What are some of the, just really quickly, key tips to make it a bit more exciting?
Well, I think that you should make it very lively and keep it exciting all the way through there on that. Oh, no, that's the way the other guys do it. No. What you want to do is you want to be real. I think that what we've got to do is really that way I was doing the mimic in there. Many people think they got to do it. They freeze up and they're looking, only in the camera, or they're looking over here, even worse. I'm talking to you right now. Can you feel the intimacy that I have for you right now because I'm looking over there versus right here at you. So look into the webcam. That's where you do it. And I think we've got to be real, as if you were talking to some friends. You're there, you're talking with friends. Imagine they're coming over to your home and you're going to your family room and you sit down and you just share some ideas. And I think that's something that's very important. And those that are watching this, those of you that are professional speakers, you've got an advantage because you know how to connect with people. Warwick, I agree with you so much that really we've got to look at ourselves as more than a mere speaker or only a speaker. I mean, from a financial point of view, from a business point of view, I've been saying for years now that we have to see ourselves as communicators who solve problems. We solve problems, we're communicators. That means we speak. Yeah, we do that. We also write, we coach, we facilitate, we blog, we do a whole host of things all around the idea of communicating. And I think when we're using webinars, it's a wonderful tool to be able to reach more people. I mean, think about it right now. We're connecting, we're communicating right now. We can see you and I see your beautiful face right here in Orlando, Florida, live and direct. The world has suddenly become much smaller. Think about it just a few years ago. You would make a phone call from the US to Australia, or Australia to the US, or anywhere. You were talking some serious money. I mean, and all you'd get would be phone. Then along comes these crackerjack kids that come up with this thing called Skype, and it really revolutionizes the way we can do it because you can do it for free, which is pretty nice. I think free work is free in the budget for you.
I think that'll work for me.
Yeah, it's good. And so I think what we want to do is you want to really concentrate on, there's a technical side, and too often we think only the technical stuff of making sure your webcam is there, make sure you're positioned properly, and your microphone is good and all that. And those are really important. But there's the soft skill side of it. It's very important. You got to learn the difference between speaking in public and speaking on a webcam. Because right now, if I get over here and I move over this way, and I'm talking to you like this right now, it doesn't look as good, does it? It's like, Terry, what's the matter with you? You got to come back over, and there's some soft skill techniques and training that we need. But once we do that, then we're going to be able to take this literally worldwide. So that it doesn't matter what the economy is like in your piece of dirt where you happen to live. In the past, people would go to wars over a piece of dirt. I'm on this piece of dirt. My ancestors lived on this piece of dirt. We're going to fight you and da-da-da. And that's a bunch of nonsense we now know. Instead, what we should do is say, look, we're going to do business worldwide. And if the economy is not so good in this area, we can do business over here. We can move it back and forth. This is why God invented PayPal. So this way, you guys can have the money going back and forth. You're making money, and the world literally is your oyster and your business place if you do it right. Use your head, and using video is one of the greatest ways to do that. We're doing that right now. We're going to talk about that in our seminars. We're actually going to demonstrate what we're doing, where we're in. Last year we were in Germany, and then in Holland, England, Ireland, Canada, different places, Mexico, and we're able to do that. It's like, okay, it's kind of like just going to another city. With the transportation, with the communication, and with the quality that we have today, it is nothing short of amazing and really cool. So, Warwick, I compliment you on being born when you were. It's a better time now than, say, 300-400 years ago.
It's good planning on my behalf, I'm sure. Look,
Yeah,
we're going to have to start to wrap this up because I have a funny feeling that we'd talk forever. But before we do, Gina, for the Australian tour, you are going to be running some workshop for the ladies because they have some real challenges, particularly, let's be honest, Australia, this sexism is, healthy as anything. So can you give us just a quick rundown? What's some of the things that you're going to be talking about or some of the key pointers you'll be able to give the people who are attending the afternoon workshop, which is ladies only?
Ladies only. Yes, what we've found is that by getting the ladies only together, that they're able to talk about things that they're just not comfortable talking about with the men. And that could be everything from wardrobe issues of, do I show cleavage or do I not? Do I wear pants? Do I wear a dress? What kind of shoes? I mean, those are real things that guys are not typically that interested in, but women are more interested in. There's a lot more variation for women to choose. And so they talk about those things. As well as women in this business seem to have real issues with pricing and with the self-worth that it takes to be able to say, well, I'm going to go out there and charge $10,000, whatever the number is. Men seem, not all men, but men seem in general to be able to grasp that and go for that more than women. So women seem to, we just need those, we need that kind of support. We need that kind of validation from one another that, hey, here's how to price, here's what you're worth, and go for it. And this is what I'm doing. This is what you're doing. We'll talk about all sorts of things that from technology that's helping to peer support to what do you do when you're taking care of your mom and your kid and the husband's out of town or whatever the situation is with the extended family situation. So a lot of challenges that women seem to have that we feel good about getting together and talking about. I have a great Facebook group called Power Women of NSA. It's open to all professional members. And if any of you guys are professional lady members, just send me, get in touch with me on Facebook. That's the best place to send me a note, say, hey, I want to join the group. But it is only for professional members. So I think you'd get some great insight from there.
Fantastic.
And by the way, Warwick, if I can interrupt here and interject something also, Gina wouldn't mention this, but I will for her. Just a couple of days ago, we went up to her reunion at Harvard Business School, and she was asked by Harvard Business School to conduct a panel, and she had 5 experts of geniuses that are doing extraordinarily well, and she was talking about that same subject, the idea of women and their role, focusing on Sheryl Sandberg's book, Lean In, which is very popular right now. Of course, Sheryl Sandberg is the COO of Facebook and a Harvard graduate as well, and so very instrumental there. Matter of fact, it was so popular, Gina filled one room completely with standing room only, and they had to do another room by video with her on this. So she was a huge hit at Harvard Business School doing this for that, and she's going to share, I know, a lot of those ideas that she had there that was relevant for the folks at Harvard for those that are attending this seminar.
Well, see, folks, why go to Harvard when you can just stay in Australia and you'll have the Harvard expert come to you? Hey,
there we go.
Thank you so much for your time today. To find out more about the event that we have with both Terry and Gina, head on over to professionalspeakers.org.au. Now, they're touring Australia. They'll be in Perth on the 6th of November, Brisbane on the 23rd of November, Melbourne on the 25th of November, and Sydney on the 26th of November. All the details are there for members of Professional Speakers. There is, of course, the members pricing. Non-members are also welcome, but naturally you have the non-members pricing. I know it sounds crazy, but that's how we roll. Guys, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you in person, and I wish you very safe travels, both physically and virtually, as you work out the world and make it all happen for us.
Thank you very much, Warwick. Great to be with you.
Thank you so much, Warwick. Really looking forward to seeing you in person.